கண்ணப்பன் நொப்பதோ அன்பின்மை கண்டபில் என்னப்பன் என்னப்பன் என்னொப்பில் என்னையும் ஆட்கொண்டு அருளி வண்ணப்பணித்து என்னை வண்ணப்பணித்து என்னை வாவென்றவான் கருணை வான் கருணை சுண்ணப் பொன்னீற்றருக்கே செல்ரோதாய் கோத்தும்பி
Before the dawn of the universe, when there were no life forms, darkness prevailed everywhere. It is the darkest age of the universe. The souls that existed were lifeless, impure and ignorant. God created the cosmic background to purify these souls. 65.5 million years ago, an event took place in the history of Earth. Scientists termed it as the KT extinction event, which led to mass extinction of dinosaurs, animals, plants and species in the sea. A new world was born with peacefulness and tranquility. It was flourishing with greens, sounds of birds and the gushing water. Somewhere, in some part of the world, a creature came into existence, which slowly evolved into a human race. It was an untamed world. It was filled with ignorance, deeds that reflect rebirth, and substances from which the Lord created the world. Man, in his march to civilization, has been first a nomad and a hunter, then a settler, a farmer, merchant, a pioneer who crossed the seas and carried the seeds of civilization to other lands. More than 2000 years ago, two factions of the sons of a king battled for a land, one good and the other greedy. Pandavas are the good ones, led by Dharman, and Kauravas, the greedy, led by Duryodhana. Duryodhana deceived Pandavas and exiled them to forest. Dharman had a younger brother by name Arjuna, who was skilled in the art of archery and penance. On the advice given by Dharman, his younger brother Arjuna stood in the mountain slopes of Kailasam hills doing penance for 5 rigorous months. A wild boar disturbed his concentration. He was left with no other option except to kill the boar. But before his arrow could hit the boar, another arrow sent by a hunter struck the boar and it died instantly. Arjunan, in disbelief, looked around to find a hunter approaching towards the carcass. Both claimed for the carcass and fought for it. At last, Arjunan realized that it was Lord Shiva who had disguised himself in the form of a hunter. Though the Lord granted him the boon, but for his arrogance for calling a hunter by his caste name, he was refused salvation until his next birth as Kannappa Nayanar. Udaipur is a forest village located in a hilly region north of Kalati Hills. The place was surrounded by greens, ponds and lotus flowers and looked like a garden. There in Udaipur lived the hill folk hunters. Nets hung on branches of woodapple trees, to the huge trunks of which were tied the yelling hounds with hanging ears. Kids in the hill folk played with tiger cubs and elephant calves. In every group of well-armed, frightening-eyed hunters, of unkind words of kill, fling and stab roused the sound of drums with pebbles inside them. Above all this noise raised the roar of a mountain stream with music of its own. The hill folks fed mainly on mountain honey and meat cooked with rice. Nagan was the chief of the hunter community. Though he had the blessings of God by virtue of his penance, yet through the influence of his present birth, he topped everyone in cruelty. His wife's name was Tattai. Though they lived a happy life, they did not have any children. Therefore, they worshipped Lord Muruga, the Lord of Hills, by offering cocks, hens and peacock alive to him. They arranged for a festival and performed Kuravai Kuthu, a dance favorite to Lord Muruga and also called Devarati, a woman prone to be inspired by divine spirit who performed dance for the cause. By God's grace, Tattai conceived and gave birth to a male child which possessed good weight. Sekirar says, baby was compared to a moon which is reflected on the useless salty sea water, similar to the useless hunting folks who had the valuable Tinnan with them. Tinnan grew up gradually and attained the age of learning the art of handling weapons. Nagan informed his people and fixed an auspicious day for imparting training in archery for Tinnan for a period of 7 days. Meanwhile, animals in the forest continued to create menace in the village. Since Nagan became old, he called upon his son to take over the leadership. Nagan sent his son for the maiden hunt by dispensing his sword to him and asked him to protect their ancestral traditions and guard the hunting community. Tinnan was sent not to hunt the animals but to hunt the 5 sensory organs. By obeying and worshipping his father, Tinnan kept intact the greatness of his penance which he performed in his previous birth. Next day, Tinnan set out for his ceremonial maiden hunt accompanied by his retinue of hunters and hounds. Tinnan was accompanied by 2 ministers, a young Kardan and an experienced Nanan. Hunters killed pigs, deer, bears, strong stags, buffaloes, elephants and tigers. Animals that slashed through the nets were bitten and caught by the hunting dogs. It reflected the humans who were trapped in the nets of the worldly plights due to good and the bad deeds of their previous births. And those who broke this net to find their way to bliss were caught hold by these dogs and fell prey to their 5 sensory organs. Though uncivilized, these hunters did not kill young ones of other animals and female animals. On and on they sped till Tinnan outstripped them in the chase of a crafty boar and was left with but 2 companions, Nanan and Kardan. They were like the good and the bad deeds which carry along with one soul even after the death when others fall apart. Boar finally sheltered under the shady tree. Tinnan, instead of using his arrows, bravely killed the boar with his dagger in a single combat. The boar killed at this point is referred to the ignorance of Tinnan. His maid told him, "Sir, we have travelled miles chasing this boar. Hunger is pinching our stomach. Let us roast this boar and eat it and quench our thirst thereafter. And let us slowly return to our hunting ground. Thirsty Tinnan angrily retorted, "Where on earth we can find water in this forest?" His companion Nayanar replied, "Beyond the teakwood forest, there runs the Ponnivali river. Let us all go there to quench our thirst." Kannappa asked his servants to bring along the carcass and strode towards the stream. Reaching it, he saw a range of hills nearby and said to Nayanar, "Let us go up there." Nayanar replied, "If you go up there, you will see only good sights. Moreover, there abides the Kudumi Tevar, the god who eradicates all shortcoming. We may even worship him." A remarkable change came over to Kannappa and felt, "What has happened to me as I near the mountain? I feel as if a burden has been lifted off my shoulders."
ஆவதன் இதனைக் கண்டு இங்கு அணைதொறும் என்மேல் பாரம் போவது என்றுளது போலும் ஆசையும் பொங்கி.
Where does the God abide on that hill? Come, let us go. And so they did and went up the hill. He could feel enormous love with sweetness and joy in him which melted his bones and opened his conscience as he approached the God, all due to his penance of his previous birth. As he climbed the hill, he passed through the 36 philosophies of Saiva Siddhanta. There, Tinnan saw the distinctive image of Lord who dwells as a shoot of the sky reaching Kalatti mountain.
முன்பு செய்தவத்தின் ஈட்டம் முடிவு இல்லா இன்பமான முன்பு செய்தவத்தின் ஈட்டம் முடிவு இல்லா இன்பமான அன்பினை எடுத்து காட்ட அளவு இலாரும் பொங்கி முன்பு செய்தவத்தின் ஈட்டம் முடிவு இலா இன்பமான அன்பினை எடுத்து காட்ட அளவு இலாரும் பொங்கி மண் பெரும் காதல் கூற வள்ளலார் மலையை நோக்கி முன் பெருங்காதல் கூற வள்ளலார் மலையை நோக்கி என்பு குறுகி உள்ளத்து எழு பெருவேகை ஓடும் என்பு குறுகி உள்ளத்து எழு பெருவேகை ஓடும்.
With delightful love, thrusting and pushing him forward as if charmed by the Lord, he embraced him and kissed him on the crown of his head. According to Sakarya Vatam philosophy, Kannappar's love for God existed before and did not happen suddenly. Tinnan wondered aloud, who could have plucked and strewn these leaves and flowers on him? Who could have adored the Lord like this? Nayanar, who stood by, said, "Once, when I accompanied your father to this shrine, I have seen a Hindu priest do this. The same priest perhaps has done this as well." Tinnan made a mental note to do the same, thinking that these acts were probably pleasing to the Lord at Kalatti Hills. He became concerned, for the loneliness in which Kalathinathar was residing, and there is no one, he pondered, to serve him meat for food. He wanted to feed the Lord, but his mind was unwilling to leave him alone. He will come back, go away again, embrace him again, go away. He'll keep looking at him with welling love, like a cow abandoning its calf. He could not restrain his tears streaming from his eyes.
போதுவர் மீண்டு செல்வர் புல்லுவர் மீளப் போவர் காதலில் நோக்கி நிற்பர் என்றகல் பூனிற்று ஆப்போல்வர். போதுவர் மீண்டு செல்வர் புல்லுவர் மீளப் போவர் காதலில் நோக்கி நிற்பர் என்றகில் பூனிற்று ஆப்போல்வர். நாதனே அமுது செய்ய நல்லமில் இறைச்சி நானே கோது அற தெரிந்து வேறு கொண்டிங்கு வருவேன் என்பார். நாதனே அமுது செய்ய நல்லமில் இறைச்சி நானே கோது அற தெரிந்து வேறு கொண்டிங்கு வருவேன் என்பார்.
Finally, he decided to leave the Lord and fetch some food for him. His other companion, Kardan, had in the meantime prepared a fire by the side of the stream. He roasted the boar on the fire. Kardan understood from Nayanar the events that took place in the shrine and questioned his chief the reasons for his bewilderment. Tinnan did not respond to his query, instead was testing the pieces of meat with his teeth for tenderness, collected the best of them in a cup-like vessel made out of leaves. He took the river water in his mouth with the intent to bathe the Lord, plucked fragrant, fresh flowers and stuck them amidst his russet hair. Meanwhile, his companions left to bring the happenings to the notice of his parents and Devarati. Carrying the bow in one hand and the pieces of meat in the other, he neared the hill. Tinnan removed with his legs the flowers strewn by the priest, poured the water from his mouth on the Lord, and showered the flowers which he brought in his head on the Lord. He placed the food before the Lord and requested the Lord to eat the flesh, but the Lord hid them. The sun set for the day. As the dusk settled in, Tinnan, fearing the prowling cruel beast might intrude on the Lord, and relishing in his heart a perfect love, stood guard all night long, bearing the bow in his hand. Next day morning, Tinnan worshipped the Lord and left for the hunt to get good food for the Lord. Priest Shiva Gurucharan, as usual, came to do the rituals to the Lord. Shiva Gurucharan was shocked to see the imprint of the shoes and pug marks of dogs and strange flowers atop the head of the Lord. He swept the floor clean of the polluting marks and after purificatory rites, worshipped the Lord in his traditional fashion. Traditional worship refers to agamam, by which a soul relieves from ignorance and understands God to attain mukti. The worship done by Tinnan is out of love he had for the Lord. Meanwhile, his companions left to bring the happenings to the notice of his parents and Devarati.
மாகமார் திருக்காலத்தி மலையழு கொழுந்தாய் உள்ள மாகமார் திருக்காலத்தி மலையழு கொழுந்தாய் உள்ள ஏகநாயகரை கண்டார் எழுந்த பேர் உவகையின் பின் ஏகநாயகரை கண்டார் எழுந்த பேர் உவகையாபின் வேகமானது மேற்செல்ல மிக்கதோர் விரைவினோடு வேகமானது மேற்செல்ல மிக்கதோர் விரைவினோடு மோகமாய் ஓடி சென்றார் தழுவினார் மோந்து நின்றார் மோகமாய் ஓடி சென்றார் தழுவினார் மோந்து நின்றார்.
On the third day, Nagan and Devarati came to summon Tinnan home, but he did not respond to their call and shined eminently as a soul relieved from body and ignorance. Priest Sivakusariyar, as usual, came to do the rituals to the Lord, worshipped the Lord in his traditional fashion. Sivakusariyar lost patience on the fifth day and prayed to Lord to put a stop to this evil. The Lord appeared that night in a dream before the priest and said, "His very frame is an incarnation of love unto us. His consciousness is nothing but consciousness of us. All his acts are pleasing to us, thus wise do. You discover his state if you would hide yourself behind us. We may show you his deeds, and then you will see all the ways of the love he bears for me."
அவனுடைய வடிவு எல்லாம் நம் பக்கமன் வென்றும் அவனுடைய வடிவு எல்லாம் நம் பக்கமன் வென்றும் அவனுடைய அறிவு எல்லாம் நமையறியும் அறிவென்றும் அவனுடைய அறிவு எல்லாம் நமையறியும் அறிவென்றும் அவனுடைய செயல் எல்லாம் நமக்கு இனியவாம் என்றும் அவனுடைய செயல் எல்லாம் நமக்கு இனியவாம் என்றும் அவனுடைய செயல் எல்லாம் நமக்கு இனியவாம் என்றும் அவனுடைய நிலையுவாறு அறினி என்று அருள் செய்தார். அவனுடைய நிலையுவாறு அறினி என்று அருள் செய்தார். அவனுடைய நிலையுவாறு அறினி என்று அருள் செய்தார்.
And so did the priest hide himself the next day behind the Lord. And Kannappan, as was his routine for the last 5 days, came on the 6th day as well to do ritual according to his likes. On his way to the shrine, he felt bad signs of omen and something dreadful is going to happen. And as he approached the sanctum sanctorum, he saw a sight that froze his very blood. The noble lord of Tirukalathi, desirous of showing to the priest the kindness of Tinnan, let a stream of blood spurt out of one of his eyes. Seeing this afar, the skilled archer came running up in a haste, and he fell down shuddering to the ground. The bow and the leaf bowl of meat fell to the ground. The bunch of flowers stuck in his stuff dropped down. He rose as fast as he fell, rushed forward, wiped the blood, saw not any stoppage of the flow, knew not what to do, sighed and wondered who could have done this, looked on all sides, took up the bow. With the arrow stung on the bow, he ran down the hill looking for the enemy or beast, but found nothing. Came back and fell down and hugging to his chest the feet of the Lord, he screamed and rained a flood of tears. He got up and went in search of Saliyakarani herbs he had seen hunters use to heal arrow wounds. He brought the herbs and crushed the juice onto the bleeding eye of the Lord, but all in vain. What next to do he pondered and remembered the proverb, "Flesh for flesh will cure an ill of the flesh." Immediately he gouged out one of his eyes with the tip of an arrow and applied it on the bleeding eye of the eternal Lord. As he saw the bleeding stopped, he jumped from the ground in delight, slapped his rock-like shoulders and danced. "This is a good idea of mine," he laughed. With intensity of joy, he became like one turned insane. For the past 6 days, he had no water, nor did he eat food, but the eye he lost for the sake of Lord delighted him. The Lord, with intent to further show his Sivakusariyar the merit of the generous one who applied his eye to the holy right eye, made an endless flow of reddish blood spurt from the other eye. Tinnan saw this and cried, "I am ruined." On ceasing of bleeding from one eye, blood gushes from the other eye, but I won't be frightened by this. I have the remedy in hand. I have got one more eye. I'll gouge it out and apply to my Lord's bleeding eye and put an end to this. He wondered how to see after he had gouged out the remaining eye to apply it on the eye of the Lord. Therefore, he placed his foot on the Lord's bleeding left eye and, with intense love, took up an ideal arrow and placed it to his eye. Even as he did so, endure it no longer could Lord Shiva. The gracious-eyed Lord, with a snake on his shoulders, restrained the holy hand of Tinnan and said twice with his honey voice, "Stop, Kannappa! Stop, Kannappa!" By uttering this word, Lord pronounces to the world that soul of Tinnan is filled with love, and so is he. Lord is separated from him as soul, united with him as guide, and together with him in performing activities. From that day, Thinnappan became Kannappan, and the Lord blessed him for his unparalleled love with a place on his right side.
காணலைக்கும் அவன் கண்ணிடந்து நீள் வானலைக்கும் நீள் வானலைக்கும் தவத்தேவு வைத்தான் வானலைக்கும் தவத்தேவு வைத்தான் வாய் கலசமாக வழிபாடு செய்யும் வேடன் மலராகும் நயனம் காய் கருணையினால் இடந்து ஈசனடி கூடு காலத்தி மலையே கூடு காலத்தி மலையே காலத்தி மலையே மலையே